welcome to another edition of Gold Cup Today. I'm Samantha Yarock, coming to you from Rentschler Field, where you can see preparations are going on for tonight's final Group C matchups, where we'll see the U.S. battle Costa Rica for that top spot in the group stage before moving on to the knockouts. Well, yesterday we heard from head coach Jurgen Klinsmann in his press conference, and he had a lot to say about this game. Let's take a listen.
I think every time these two teams meet, it's like when the US meets Mexico or Costa Rica meets Mexico, you want to do well. You know, you want to show your opponent where you stand, you know, what you have on the field, and you want to beat them. Tomorrow we'll get the best lineup, absolutely, because we want to win this game. We want to send out a signal. We want to see where we're at right now. We all understand that the previous games, you know, were expected to win. Also was expected to put some goals in, and we know that this is now the first real test for us with this group that works together since barely 2 weeks. So that's why we definitely have the best lineup out there.
Well, before we talk about what the U.S. needs to do to get the win tonight, let's check in with the studio for some Group B highlights where there were some surprising finishes.
Group B has easily been the most entertaining group in this CONCACAF Gold Cup, and it lived up to expectations on its final match day yet again. It started with El Salvador versus Haiti at BBVA Compass Stadium, a pro-Salvadoran crowd on hand, and El Salvador just taking it to Haiti. A surprise because Salvador, the smaller, less athletic team, but they were on, especially inspired by Rodolfo Zelaya, the number 11, the player of the tournament so far. He hits the post twice in the first half, including on a long-distance free kick that nearly surprised the goalkeeper. He gets his goal in the end on a penalty kick, but this was earned in scandalous fashion. The captain of El Salvador, Victor Turcios, basically holding on to Jean Alexandre's jersey in the box and taking a dive. The referee awards the penalty kick to El Salvador, and Zelaya puts it home. El Salvador take the result, and Haiti just left hoping that Trinidad lose to Honduras in the nightcap, but that was not to be. Trinidad taking a shock lead on a penalty kick. This one was legitimate in the second half, and then doubling the result, Kenwin Jones feeding Kevin Molino for that one. Trinidad through as the second place team. Honduras finishing first in the group, and they will face the second place team in the U.S. group, Group C. That's what makes the game between U.S. and Costa Rica so important. The U.S., if they fail to win or tie against Costa Rica, they know there's a date set up with Honduras in the quarterfinals. That would be a massive matchup, and way earlier than the U.S. thought they would have to face Honduras in this tournament.
Well, Andrew, as we just heard from Simon, this game tonight becomes even more important for the U.S. and Costa Rica because whoever loses is going to face Honduras first in the knockout stage. So what does the U.S. team need to do to beat Costa Rica?
Well, it all comes down to breaking down what has been a resolute back four since they lost to the U.S. in Commerce City in that infamous snow game. Costa Rica hasn't allowed a goal in 7 matches since then. Their back line is resolute and they are motivated. They certainly have not forgotten that game. That is still stuck in their collective minds. The U.S. is going to have to find a way to break down a team that frankly has much more quality than Cuba, Belize, or Guatemala. It's going to be a difficult task. It appears Chris Wondolowski will be the man at the front of that spear. Can he break down what promises to be a compact defense? We'll have to see tonight.
I think it's a very difficult task. As we mentioned earlier, Costa Rica stays very compact. Their back four is very organized. But I believe that we have a lot of talent going forward. And especially when we connect our passes and the movement off the ball is something very crucial for us. And when we are able to connect those passes and really play together as a team, I think we are able to create opportunities. And the more opportunities that we get, we tend to finish them.
Hey, well, Andrew, somebody has to feed Wondolowski, and that's going to be coming from that midfield that Jurgen Klinsmann doesn't seem to be afraid to experiment and play around with. What should we be expecting to see tonight?
Well, we'll start on the left. I think you saw in this last game, Breck Shea just not match fit, not sharp enough to start a match in a crucial match for the U.S. I think you see Jose Francisco Torres on that side. He'll tuck in, he'll provide some help to those central midfielders. Against Costa Rica, a side with more attacking prowess than Cuba or Belize, I think it's a shoe-in that Kyle Beckerman starts in the middle. You want that anchor, you want the guy to shut down the game and really get things going. Plus, we've seen he has great chemistry with Chris Wondolowski. And then it's between Stuart Holden and Mix Diskerud in that more attack-minded position. We've seen Diskerud get the start recently. Holden is also saying he's 100%. It's still up in the air as to who we'll see there. I think you'll still see him experiment as time goes on. And then Benny Corona on the right is likely your man. Got the goal in his last game is first for the U.S. Either way, I think this is a midfield that Jurgen Klinsmann has plenty of confidence in right now. No matter which mix he chooses, I think he expects that group to be able to get results against Costa Rica.
Leandro, we'll wait and see who Klinsmann decides to pair up tonight in that midfield. You can catch both games on Fox Soccer and Unimas. The first, Cuba taking on Belize at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by the U.S. taking on Costa Rica at 8 p.m. Well, that's all we have for Gold Cup today, but be sure to check back in with MLSsoccer.com for coverage of both of tonight's matches and continued coverage of this Gold Cup tournament.